The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC, as well as squarespace.com, where you can use the code TAC to get 10% off your first order. And finally, we've got some sweet new merch available. Go check it out at bit.ly/amovestore.
Everyone, get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is The Angry Chicken.
Happy Wintervale, everyone, and welcome back to The Angry Chicken, the podcast all about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. I am Garrett Weinzerl, and I am joined today by the one, the only, Willie Dills Gregory, by Jocelyn Moffat, and joining the show for the first time as a guest host is Phil Kohler, the senior editor from Polygon. But also, you're just kind of a Hearthstone nut.
Yeah, I just really like Hearthstone. If they let me have my title just be senior Hearthstone editor, that's what it would be.
Wonderful. You should just get your own, little private stash of business cards made.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Honestly, at this point, like 90% of the content that I make for Polygon, like whether it's news stories or videos or whatever, it's all Hearthstone related, so it might as well be.
Nice.
Very nice.
I ran into some people from IGN the other night at a Christmas party, and they said that that if you walk around during lunchtime, pretty much everyone's playing Hearthstone. So I think it's infected like all of the gaming offices around.
That doesn't surprise
me.
It's just so darn easy to play. It's so accessible.
It's the perfect lunchtime game.
Yeah, I mean, we just had our third Fireside Gathering in Florida this year, and it's ridiculous the wide variety of devices everyone's playing the game on.
Yeah, actually, so I was looking this year at Christmas presents for people, and I think I'm buying somebody a whatchamacallit, what's the Amazon thing? The Amazon tablet, like just
Fire
for Hearthstone.
tablet?
Yeah, because they're like $100 or something like that. And like they were like complaining that they couldn't play Hearthstone. I was like, well, there you go. $100 tablet just for Hearthstone. That's literally what it is.
That's a great present. That's pretty much the only reason I bought my iPad. And I was just like, I need to be able to play Hearthstone on something that's bigger than my little 3GS thing, which doesn't even run Hearthstone. So.
Ooh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's old.
Well, I have a 6 now, but.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank God.
I was like, you're not the 1%. What the hell's going on here? 3G.
That's because she spent all her money on Hearthstone cards.
Yeah. Can't upgrade anything else in my life. It's just I'm upgrading Hearthstone. Yeah. Oh, it's my favorite joke of all time. We should never get rid of it ever.
Yeah. That's a dedicated Hearthstone device. That's pretty much why I bought my iPad as well. Now, granted, this past week, as I've been infected with Star Wars Mania, I've been playing KOTOR, which I've never played before. So I've been playing that on the iPad.
Is that good?
I didn't know you could do that on the iPad.
Yeah,
they released like an iPad version.
Yeah,
cool.
It controls pretty well.
Okay.
There's definitely a few times where I've died doing things that I definitely didn't tell my character to do. But hey, it's fine.
It's like this is the role playing game, right?
Yeah, this is the game that led up to the MMO where you and I met doing a podcast about it.
Which I have a great itch to play again.
I do too. So by all means, if you start that back up, sir, let me know.
All right. I want to be a Jedi, man. I want to be a Jedi so bad.
I'm hearing that a lot lately for some reason.
I actually even have behind me, I don't know if you can see, that's Luke Skywalker right there.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. We
Nice.
found him!
I was just going to say that, and then I was like, does that count as a spoiler?
No, that's the very beginning of the movie. We're looking for Luke.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right. Enough
Wonderful.
of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. This whole episode will just be us trying really hard not to talk about Star Wars.
Not to talk about Star Wars.
But that's it's okay. That's okay. So Phil, you're the guest. How did you become the resident Hearthstone geek at Polygon? Did it just kind of happen?
Oh gosh, so it goes back to the beta. I think it was November of 2013. So that would have been 2 years ago now. I can't believe that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? Yeah.
I've been playing this game for 2 years. That's really weird. So yeah, 2 years ago, I'm not a card game guy. and I never was interested in card games, digital or otherwise. I think I played Magic the Gathering in high school like twice with friends, and was just very confused about it and terrified by the complexity of it, and also the thought of how much money it would take to actually play it. And then in college, I worked at a comic shop where people would get together and play Magic the Gathering. So I watched people play it a lot, but it never interested me. But I decided to try out Hearthstone. When they announced it, I wasn't really interested in it for those reasons, but I was going to give it a shot because I like Blizzard, and I just like all of Blizzard's games. And I am particularly, I've spent a lot of time playing World of Warcraft, so
yes.
Something tied into that I have particular fondness for, and was like, well, I'll give it a shot. I'll see how it goes, and just immediately within probably 20 minutes of turning it on, I was just like, oh, this is really good. I really like this, and so yeah, I just kept playing it. And ended up doing a review for it when it came out officially. And Blizzard has just kept such a good pace of releasing new content that I've never gotten bored. It's always like, even if there hasn't been anything for a few months, I might slip down to playing like 1 or 2 games a day only. But I'm still playing it every day. And I always know that like new content is coming pretty soon, so it's just always pulled me in. And then on top of that, one of my brothers, I live far away from my family now, and one of my brothers plays, and it's one of the few games that we can play together. So there's just like there's a bonding element to it as well.
Nice.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I think that a day hasn't gone by where I've at least watched Hearthstone on Twitch if I haven't played it. Like, it's one of those
exactly.
things you just kind of think about it, and you just like randomly I'll just catch myself going, I wonder if I should make a druid deck that had, and I just start thinking about weird stuff. But
or like for me, you were just saying it's the perfect lunch game. Like,
yeah,
almost every day I will take my lunch break and I will play a round or 2 of Hearthstone while I eat lunch. Almost every day without fail, because it's exactly it. It's like, it fits within that lunch break perfectly. I have a fun time. I make some progress towards whatever quest I'm on or whatever arena run I'm doing, and then I get back to work.
Do you find that your post lunch until 5 o'clock attitude is directly affected by how good or how poorly you did in your lunch Hearthstone session? You get a bad beat from a Secret Paladin, and you're just like,
or just play against Secret Paladin at all, and
I avoid that entirely by just playing as Secret Paladin.
well, there you go.
Wow, that's how you do it.
There's only one Secret Paladin allowed in any match at any time, so you just figure if you play it, then
I'm just saying, like, I can't get mad at other people playing Secret Paladin if I'm playing Secret Paladin.
Good point. Very good point.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I've been having a great time laughing at Secret Paladin while I burn their faces with lava, though, the last few days. Because that Smork Shaman just destroys them before they ever even get to Dr. Six, so it's great.
Dr. Six. I've been having...
Have you ever heard that before, Garrett?
I have. It's just been a while, and I forgot. It still makes me laugh. Yeah, I haven't been having too much trouble with the Secret Paladins. I've been playing mostly Murloc Paladin.
Oh.
And haven't been having really any issue against the Secret Paladins.
I would like to see your list, because there's at least 3 or 4 kind of viable versions at this point.
I'm pretty sure it's...
One is like super stall, one is like super draw heavy. But I'm curious to see what yours is.
I went almost entirely to the list that was on the last Tempo Storm meta report, but I did keep in one of the loot hoarders. I originally had 2 because I was using the deck I saw on Savitsa's stream. Just because I really do like the draw aspect. So it does have, it has the Dark Cultist. It has 1 loot hoarder. It doesn't have 2 like that deck originally had.
Yeah, that was the version I started with, but I've always drew my entire deck so fast that I was actually fatiguing sometimes.
I never had that.
Could even like get all my Murlocs to die.
Well, it's kind of like, remember ye olden days of Control Priest when we were all finding our footing with it, and we're like, well, never go full Northshire. Don't do it. It's bad. And it's the same thing with Dark Cultists. If you're running Dark Cultists in the Murloc Paladin, because you're a Paladin, because you're going to have so many...
Master?
Yeah, or
Cult,
sorry,
yeah, Cult
sorry,
Master, yeah.
It's Cult Master. Did I say Dark Cult? I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Ignore
Yeah,
it.
that's fine.
You gotta be
They
careful
both
with
have
your
cult in them.
You have to be careful with your Cult Master. Like, it's funny because a lot of the times your problem is, well, I don't know if this is a turn to play because I don't know if I'm going to draw enough cards. But every now and then you get into a game where the question is, I don't know if it's time to play this because I might draw too many cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you
Like if I have 5 dudes on board or something like that, it might be because you also run like double lay on hands and the friggin' 5 mana draw 2, whatever the thing that is.
Azure
like, there's
Drake?
all this other draw in
Or
it
wait,
too.
draw
so,
2.
Yeah.
5 mana
And
draw
Hammer
2.
of Wrath and like so much other stuff. You get to the I would get to the end of the game, and one of the cards left in my hand, well, I had no more cards in my deck, would be lay on hands. So I'm like, well, I can never play this. It's like, I hope I kill them soon.
Gotcha. Oh, you meant the Paladin card that costs less for every mini that died that turn. I can never remember the
Yes.
name of that spell. I've never run that in my Murloc Paladin.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That's smart.
I have had Azure Drakes. That's why I thought it was like 5 mana draws a card. It's Azure Drake, clearly. But they don't draw 2. So
I do feel like, in this conversation, I think hopefully illustrates this, but I do feel like Secret Paladin is less like I'm running into it less frequently than I was.
Yeah.
Like certainly, I think just with League of Explorers being all out now and everybody's experimenting with new decks, I don't know how it's going to shake out. I don't know if maybe another couple weeks down the line, Secret Paladin's just going to be all over again. But I feel like it's less frustrating now than it was 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, as soon as we got introduced to another version that was actually pretty good. Right now with Paladin, it's interesting. I see mid-range quite a bit. I still see the Secret Paladin. I see the Murloc. And actually, I'm starting to see some aggro Paladin come back. So it's one of those classes
like,
now.
It's
so many you don't know what to do when you're mulling.
Yeah, it's almost the only class in the game I feel like where right now there's like 3 or 4 or 5 different legitimate variations, and then sort of smaller minor variations within those, like different types of Secret Paladin and stuff.
Yeah,
so it's kind of
there's an aggro Secret Paladin, and then there's the more mid-range
Paladin's been my favorite class since the start, so I'm
nice.
super into this. Like it's a great time for me, but I'm also like a little bit terrified of where it goes from here, like how badly everything gets nerfed at some point.
Well, you also said you played World of Warcraft, so did you play a Paladin in World of Warcraft? Because I would be afraid too, because as a Pally player in WoW, they just got beat to death with the nerf stick.
My main in World of Warcraft was a mage, but the secondary alt that I used was a Paladin.
Okay, so
yeah,
you know what I'm
I'm
talking
very
about.
familiar with that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. You felt like a god in Lich King, and then Kata came.
Yeah, see, did we all kind of do that when we came to Hearthstone for the first time? Because I played a lot of Hunter right when I showed up in Hearthstone. I was like, oh yeah, here we go, Hunter. And then at first I was like, this hero power sucks because they didn't have as much smart cards as you have now. So I eventually kind of moved away. But I think Jocelyn, you did the same thing, right? Didn't you play a lot of Hunter? Yeah.
100%. I jumped into the game and was like, okay, I understand having pets and shooting things. I'm just going to go Hunter. And I played Hunter for a really long time. I mean, I was just, back when Hearthstone first came out, I was so casual that I had no aspirations other than hit rank 20 and get my card back. So, yeah, I just played Hunter all of the time.
What a different, wonderful world that was, Jocelyn.
I know.
I was the
Before you were hardcore.
Although I will say I'm having the most fun now, like even though I'm doing the whole Jory to Legend thing this month and we're trying really hard and I'm playing Hearthstone every day, I'm having more fun playing Hearthstone this time around than I did when I did the run to Legend in February. Like it's like night and day. In February I was like, I hate this. There's like 2 decks that I can play and I can't get anywhere and this is boring and it's the same thing and grr, and now I'm just like Murlocs and Paladins and maybe I'll even Rogue. It's crazy.
Wow. Well, I think that's a good segue into what we're going to talk about because that's League of Explorers, right? Like,
yeah,
there's so much going on. It's amazing.
Yeah. Although first, I want to answer your question, Dilson. No, I didn't.
You played Paladin in World of Warcraft, right?
played. Yeah. Well, I mean,
For whatever reason, you just took to Shaman.
My first main ever was Hunter, and that was true from vanilla all the way up till the middle of Lich King when I switched to Paladin, and I also switched to Horde and started raiding with a whole new group of friends. And now, to this day, I still play Paladin in World of Warcraft. But no, I went to Shaman. I have never played Shaman in my life in World of Warcraft. I've dabbled to like level 5 and been like, this is boring, and never went back to it.
Not all the classes feel like their World of Warcraft counterparts, though. Like Paladin does kind of feel like Paladin because you've got all this like healing and strong, sturdy stuff with shields and things like that. That kind of gets that point across in Hunter, I think, because of the beasts and stuff. But I don't feel like they all do that. Like, to me, Shaman doesn't feel like Shaman in World of Warcraft necessarily, because it has no healing. Like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, it's just that's not the same. So I could see why you could gravitate to that when it never was part of your World of Warcraft experience.
Yeah, well, to me, I was coming in, from Magic, and I was like, oh, they have a card that just draws cards. I'm playing this class. So, but then, yeah, eventually, once Paladin got muster, Paladin became my favorite class. But I went through Shaman and Warlock first before I finally kind of landed on Paladin as my de facto class.
Yeah.
So, Phil, what about you?
So like I said, my main in World of Warcraft was Mage, and I definitely started out playing Mage in Hearthstone as well. It was just kind of like an easy thing in Hearthstone since that's just kind of where they start you by default.
Yeah.
So it was easy to just pick up and go with that. It didn't take me long to switch over to Paladin, though. It probably was within the first month that I was playing when I just started to realize that I liked Paladin a lot. I think the first class legendary I also got was Tyrion. So that was a big help because that's also one of the best class legendaries in the game for any class. Yeah. So it's just a auto include in every Paladin deck pretty much. So that made it a lot easier, but it was still tough that like all through 2014 Paladin never really
good.
Yeah, like never the most competitive. I had a lot of fun with like trying to make mid-range Paladin decks work. And I had the most fun playing them, but my win rate was never great. It was probably usually around like 40% or something.
Now, you said, though, that you didn't play card games before this.
Yeah.
Did you have any of those kind of initial, like, fell into those initial traps, like, ooh, Goldshire Footman, this is probably really good? Or
100%.
True Silver, I should never hit creatures with that. I should always hit face because I don't want to take damage. Like,
100%. I didn't understand this stuff at all. And like the ones that still kill me, Lord of the Arena is one that I was just like, every time I played in Arena and got Lord of the Arena as an option, I was like, well, of course I want taunt, and of course I want this big beefy taunt creature. Who could ever take care of this? Who could?
And it's in his name. He is
the Lord of the Arena. Who am I to argue?
Him.
I'm not the Lord of the Arena. I can't argue with that.
Yeah. Exactly. And then a Boulderfist Ogre comes along and goes, oh, like, I'm the Lord of the Arena. And then you go,
it's just
I
nothing.
see.
Yeah, it was, there were all sorts of ones. I also just, for the longest time, it took me a long time to understand and appreciate Warlock. For the longest time when I started the game, and probably for the first few months, I was just like, Warlock's a terrible class. Who would play that? Your hero power hurts you. That's crazy. Why would you do that?
Your kit hurts you.
Yeah, everything. It's just like...
but my health, I need that to live.
It made no sense to me, and it was really difficult for me to begin to understand the idea of treating health as a resource with the Warlock. It was very much beyond me. But that also opened me up to like understanding weapons a lot better, like you're saying, using them to attack minions and not face.
Or the thing that a lot of people were making mistakes of early on, which was swinging with face because I can, like I have an attack and not saving like the second charge of the weapon and all those like little things. They're not obvious to someone who never played card games before. So I love hearing about those stories when people come in because it's like, you want to kill creatures with these weapons, not just hit the face. You're like, what?
Yeah, my brother and I were both, my brother who I mentioned playing with, we were both very new to card games, and so he had a lot of the same issues. One that took us both a while that we kind of worked through together just by talking about it was recognizing the importance of card draw, and just like, like moving through your deck and recognizing that that can be, it can be worth having a minion who's maybe not as good stats, but is able to do card draw.
Yeah, I had the opposite. I went in.
Someone's vacuuming, by the way.
Yes, that's what.
I was like,
that is my upstairs. Upstairs
I thought it was my upstairs for a second. I was like trying to pick it out.
I know, and I thought it
it's
was
definitely-
like construction in the basement. I'm going, shoot, no.
It's definitely my upstairs neighbor. I apologize.
All right, cool.
It's okay.
We're all panicking.
I was trying very hard to not acknowledge it
Either
and
that or
just
a lot
move
of
on.
Bees are on the way.
Oh no, the bees! They found us.
Yeah.
They're
We
coming
need
for
to-
revenge.
We need to run right now.
Yeah. Someone needs to start skating or dying.
Man, I forgot about that. Remember, I thought like the weaponized bees from Africa were coming at some point, and like now no one talks about that anymore. Are we still supposed to be scared? I feel like I should still be scared.
You can be
You
if you
should
want
always
to.
be
Dylan.
scared, Dylan.
You can be if you really want to be. Go for it. But yeah, no, I came into the game with the opposite. It was like everything that has card draw is what I want because it's amazing in Magic. It's going to be amazing here. And then like, oh wait, look, the Shaman's not actually that good because they have Manatee Totem.
Yeah.
So
It took me a little while, but I caught on pretty quick. But I do remember the first time I saw Warlock, I built a deck that healed myself a lot because I was like, well, if I'm going to use this hero power to hurt myself and draw cards, I better heal up after. And then finally, and at the time, there was no really good healing.
I was about to say, what'd you have? Earthring Farseer and
Earthring Farseer and like Witch Doctor.
I was about to say,
and,
Witch Doctor. Did you actually?
Oh, boy.
Did you
Oh, yeah.
unironically place a Witch Doctor inside your
I
deck?
did. I was
Wow.
like, that's like a free life tap. But
Man, I guess we've all been there. I mean,
You're
at
not
some
wrong.
point.
That's value.
yeah, I mean, I looked at that and I was like, that should be the way you play this, right? And I looked at Mage and I was like, oh, I should probably just put in a bunch of spells and spell power.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, what you see when you first look at a game through the eyes of a new player.
Yeah, kobolds all day, every day.
Yeah, lots of kobolds for sure. But then, then it like started to sink in after a while. Like all of these numbers are literally just resources, and you can drain them for power if you want. But
in the Twitch chat, Links HS brings up the most masterful opening play of the game, which is Coin Magma Rager. I did never do that. I never went that. Things never went that poorly for me.
Yeah,
but
I do remember playing Scott Johnson, and he was playing Hunter, and he coin hero powered my face on turn 1, and I was like, Scott, never do that again. Just don't. Don't.
Stop.
But he's like, I'm winning. You have 28, and I have 30. I'm winning the game right now.
I'm pretty sure that was the beginning of this show Voltroning together, because I think after that you guys got on the instance and you were talking. You couldn't stop talking about Hearthstone, Dills.
Yeah,
And
I was
like-
incredibly excited.
Yeah.
I mean, I always wanted to play card games, right? But Magic has this barrier of entry that's just so hard to surmount. And like you were saying, you watched or you played a couple games of Magic in high school or something, and it was just all confusing. And then you start realizing how much it would cost. And I was very much the same. Like I watched other kids play it and was just like, yeah, dude, that looks awesome. And then I would be like, all right, how much do these cards cost? I'm like, oh, no, I don't have that. So, then, and I was like, and I buy one pack and I have 15 cards. And then what do I can't build a deck with that. Like they have lots of cards, like all that kind of stuff. Just to me was just, it never allowed me to actually get into it as a kid. So this game, you get a bunch of free cards. They're all crap, but they're free and you have them and you get a jumping off point. And, that was just incredibly exciting. And of course, World of Warcraft. So,
Yep. And chat room is correct. We totally meant Voodoo Doctor, not Witch Doctor.
oh,
So,
whatever.
Save
Sure.
your emails, everyone.
Whatever. Yeah.
I
Does
think-
anybody play the card? We don't
No.
need to remember what it's called.
I think I think my embarrassing card I like early on. I'm like, yeah, why would I not play this? Is Dust Devil as a shaman?
Oh,
Yeah,
did you ever get the dream?
Yeah.
Did you ever get coin double Dust Devil?
I did. I got it
Yeah.
early on, and that's why I was like, yeah, why wouldn't you play this card? And the answer is because it's terrible.
Yeah.
It completely locks you out of turn 2 if you play it on turn 1.
But on turn 3, you drop a Flame Tongue Totem in between them, and you just kill them.
Kapow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because they always live until turn 3.
Exactly. The only thing what is your game plan with this deck? Well, I play two Dust Devils on turn 1, hope my opponent is asleep for their second turn, and then I win on turn 3.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally.
Yep, that's exactly what happens. Oh, this has been great. And Jocelyn, eye for an eye, right?
Yeah, the thing about all of
Never let you
my
forget.
crazy stories is most of them happened and were told on the podcast where I was like, no, guys, wait a minute. What about blah thing? And you're all just like shaking heads going, what, no. I was like, no, but it could be good because, it keeps us even. Same mentality as Scott. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm ahead and they hit me with eye for an eye, or like they pop my eye for an eye, then I'm still ahead. This is good, right?
Yeah, because there's just two big scoreboards on either side, and
yeah,
that's,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the notion that playing eye for an eye at any point means you're ahead.
Hey, some secret pallies run an eye for an eye.
I will say this though: the days of your secrets could activate on your turn, eye for an eye wasn't as god awful as it is now. But
And to be fair, that would have been when I picked eye for an eye as a not terrible card.
yeah.
And
'Cause
really
there
and
was
truly,
that video
like,
going around of people like damaging a berserker or something, and then hitting with eye for an eye active or something like that.
Yep.
Was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
But
Oh, jeez.
Exactly. And so I feel like, the eye for an eye at the time might not have been that terrible, but it's definitely one of those traps that new players fall into. It's like, that seems to be a way to keep myself in the game, but realistically, when you think from like a larger strategy perspective, like, no, it doesn't fit at any point in the game. And, I think Brode actually talked about that a couple times. Just, like...
he talked about you and that, actually.
He name dropped
Particularly.
you, and you're going to bat for the card eye for an eye in one of his blogs. So
Like, I like that you said trap, because it does kind of feel like Blizzard laid some traps for new players, right?
Absolutely.
Like, that's
absolutely.
what Goldshire Footman is. It's like, oh, taunt. They're not going to hit my face. And then
that's what.
realize, oh, but then they hit my face the next turn because it died to the whatever creature, and it didn't kill that. So,
Right. Well, that's what Ben Brode brought up in his last video, was that, listen, bad cards need to exist, especially in the base set, so that, brand new players still have that experience, even at a very low level of, well, this is a bad card, I'm not going to include it. This is a good card, I'm going to include that.
We need to teach the Jocelyn's of the world a lesson.
What I like with League of Explorers, though, getting into that a little bit, is that they seem to be moving on from bad cards need to exist in every set a little bit. Like, League of Explorers certainly has cards that are very situational, and that there are a lot of cards in it that may or may not ever make it in serious competitive play, but almost every card in that set has something interesting about it, and something that, like, I want to see a deck built around this card, or I want to see a deck that makes this one work. It's
definitely the most interesting set, for sure.
Yeah. Almost none of the cards struck me as just 100% this is a terrible card no matter what, and it will never be good in anything.
No, I think that's very true. I mean, even the cards that we kind of panned, I mean, we can look at them and say, like, even like Gorilla Bot A3, which is a pretty bad card, you could still say, like, well, in a mech deck, there's an argument to play this because I just need more mechs, and boom.
I got a Gorilla Bot the other day out of an unstable portal, and it worked perfectly, and therefore it's the best.
If you actually play it and get a mech, the fact that you discover and get to pick a mech actually is pretty good in that certain situation. But still, like, you look at the card and you go, oh, this is terrible. Murloc Tiny Fin, like, oh, this card's terrible. Well, in a Murloc deck, a 0-mana 1/1 is pretty good. And I think it was Raynad who made the point that at some point in the future, any card that costs 0 has a potential to be broken. And we've seen this in, like, Magic the Gathering, where when you play things like Modern or Vintage or whatever, decks are completely built around abusing things like 0-mana cards. So even that, like, at some point, this could be crazy broken.
The brilliant thing about Murloc Tiny Fin as well as Sir Finley that didn't occur to me with either of those initially is that both those cards are actually secret nerfs to the Paladin Murloc Knight.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't occur to me until I
come out,
until I ran into somebody playing Murloc Knight the other day, which I don't think a ton of people are running Murloc Knight these days, but I ran into somebody playing it and was a little bit like, oh my god, what am I going to do? And then he summoned Sir Finley, and I was like, oh, that doesn't help him at all.
Yeah,
it's great.
I remember the days of Murloc Knight and a Murloc Knight and a Murloc Knight.
Yeah.
Does still happen sometimes in Arena, but very, very infrequent and constructed.
Yeah,
that's the same thing with Darnassus Aspirant. Was like a nerf to Piloted Shredder, which was like a little secret nerf to Piloted Shredder.
Yeah, absolutely. Until the day comes when Hobgoblin buffs one attack minions that are summoned, not played. Yeah.
Then
yeah,
then we're all in trouble.
Murloc, Tiny Finn, and Sir Finley Merkelton are a total nerf to Murloc Knight. But, oh man, could you imagine how terrifying that would be?
So that would be, yeah, like I thought about that and I was like, that wouldn't be that bad. I mean, it's already pretty bad card, right? Hobgoblin. And then I was like, oh, wait, like things like
Paladin would just run away.
Dark
Paladin,
Whispers. Well, no, but Dark Whispers too. Like,
Yep.
Hobgoblin and then 5/1/1s pop out that all get buffed. Like, that would be.
Literally, as soon as you said that, I was like, do you mean Dank Whispers? Like, no, wait, no, that's the wrong name.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's the right name.
yeah.
That's it.
No, but there's cards in this set that I didn't really look at and think that they were going to be anything or played at all, and I've actually seen almost everything used to some sort of advantage. Like at this, like I've seen Raven Idol now with kind of like a Miracle Druid deck has popped up recently. I don't know if you guys have run into that.
I have
Raven
not.
Idol's- I love Raven Idol. I think Raven
Yeah, it's a
Idol
cool
is
card
awesome.
because it's so it's the most flexible card in
Yeah,
the game.
yeah.
First, you choose which type of thing you want to discover, then you discover. So it's like you can get all sorts of fun outcomes with that.
Yeah, Raven Idol makes me excited to try Druid again. Druid for some reason, and on its face, and when I look at its cards, I think I would love it. But for some reason, it's one of the classes that I've just felt the least drawn to.
I could see that. Yeah, it's
Midnight Bomber
It's-
brings up the Museum Curator, the priest card.
Oh, fantastic card.
Yeah, so
That card's great.
that's one of them that I actually was like, I didn't think this card would be that great. It's been getting a ton of use. I've been seeing it all the time with priest decks.
Well, the one of the major reasons that it gets used is because before priest would have like a wild pyromancer or something would be their 2-drop, and they
Yeah.
didn't want to drop it on 2 because they wanted to drop it with the turn when they were going to play a bunch of spells, right, and actually kill stuff with it. So a lot of times on priest, you just turn 2 pass, right? Now with Museum Curator, you drop this 1/2 on 2, and you draw a card, and it's usually pretty good. Like you get things like Sludge Belchers out of it, Sylvanas, all that kind of stuff can come out of it. And, you're just going to get value, and you're going to do something rather than just like not doing anything on turn 2, which is always the problem for Priest. So, and it's a body that can take a hit potentially, so you can then like heal it for card draw. It's a fantastic card for Priest. It probably would suck in other classes, but Priest needed this kind of play, right? So.
Somebody also brings up in the chat, Museum Curator has a big chance of getting a Dark Cultist as well, which is
Yeah,
it gives you a turn 3 play.
Which means, yeah, you're not as married to including 2 of Dark Cultists in your 3-drop slot as a priest, which frees up you, it allows you to get more creative as a priest.
Well, you want to have like Curator into Velen's Chosen or something like that's like the dream, right? If you don't want to like overload the 3 spot, but yeah, no, I think it's a fantastic card, and I think I was watching. I think it was Kibler play the other day, and the Curator was like MVP in like half of the games he played. It was crazy good because in so many situations he's like, well, I just need a taunt to live, and then I'll kill him, and he'd get a Sludge Belcher, and it'd be perfect.
One League of Explorers card that I haven't seen yet being used in a way that's very good, and I'm still curious if someone's going to figure it out, is the Naga Sea Witch.
Yeah,
It's the one that makes all of your cards cost 5.
Yeah, and the chat room's asking, like, why is this epic? And I think our answer on this show is, well, because it's weird, and weird cards are always epic.
Yeah.
That card and the Genie of Zephyrs. I think both. Like I haven't seen. Like a lot of people tried that, weren't quite able to make it work. But
I love the Genie. I've been
It's
doing
a
some
great
stuff
card,
with the
yeah.
Genie. I like the Genie in the Hunter Hat deck, which is not a great deck, but it is a lot of fun.
yeah,
And that the Genie specifically works beautifully with that.
no, I can see that. I think the Naga Sea Witch I've seen in an Astral Communion deck because if you can get it out, then you have 10 mana. So if you could get your Astral Communion out and then you draw a Naga Sea Witch and it lives a turn, that means like you're going to be able to play whatever you want plus another card. So you'll be able to play things like Ancient of Lore and then play something that you drew, and stuff like that. So I've seen it there, but that's about it. And it's tough to make it live.
Really funky card. And again, these type of cards, because of Discover, become a lot more interesting because while they're not consistent enough that you would probably consider actually putting them in your ladder deck, they may show up in a Discover at a time when you do have the cards in hand to utilize them. You could pull Naga Sea Witch and have 2 cards you really want to play next turn that would cost more than 10 and be like perfect. Or you may pull the Genie of Zephyrs and have multiple buffs in your hand and be like, well, I guess I'm taking Genie of Zephyrs in this scenario.
Yeah. No, I can see that too. But I think your point, Phil, is interesting because there are so many like weird cards here, and a lot of times before it was like you'd get these vanilla cards that are just like, well, is the body okay, or what's going on with this card? It's just a slightly better version of this or worse version of this, and we've kind of got stuff in this set that's not a version of anything, like just stuff we've never seen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's stuff doing weird new things. Like the one of my favorites is the Rogue. Fossilized Raptor, is that the name?
Unearthed Raptor?
Unearthed Raptor?
Unearthed Raptor, that's what it is. Taking the death rattle from somebody else. Like, I think that's just such an interesting, cool mechanic that we've never seen before. And I want to say, like, what is it, 40 cards in League of Explorers? Almost all of them, like, 35 of them or 36 of them have text of some sort on them? Like, there's just very few blank cards that are just like, here is a thing.
I think it is just Murloc Tinyfin. I believe every single other card from League of Explorers, has some type of text on it. Even if it's as simple as not the C-word which is your cards cost 5.
Yeah.
By the way, have you guys heard about the Raptor OTK deck? Have you guys heard about this yet?
No.
What?
All right, so there's a Raptor OTK deck that is not a good deck at all, but basically what you do is you use Bran Bronzebeard and Double Raptor and Leper Gnome and 2 Shadow Steps. And what you do is
I did hear about this.
Yeah, so you
God.
Raptor a Leper Gnome, and then you Raptor the Raptor, then you Shadow Step the first Raptor and Raptor that second Raptor, and then you Shadow Step that Raptor and Raptor the third Raptor? And then apparently it's like an OTK.
Yo, dog, I heard you like Raptors.
But the problem is then you have to have your Raptor die, so you gotta like eviscerate your own Raptor or something like that. But still,
but it's doable.
I heard this was Ringusu in the chat brings this up, but this was day 9. Basically, what I heard, he spent a full day just playing over and over to get that once. And he's like, listen, I know this isn't a good deck, but I need to get the combo, and once I get it, I'm fine. And he got it, and he was stoked.
Yeah, that sounds really like, I like stuff like that. There was a guy who did a video where I guess he does this all the time, like Hearthstone challenges, and the challenge was to play every kind of giant in the same turn. So he just had to he had to have the opponent have a lot of cards. He had to have a lot of cards. He had to be low on health. He had to have hero powered a bunch of times, and there had to be a bunch of creatures on board. So, he spent like all day trying to like get this perfect scenario, and then he played 5 different giants, and it worked, and then he lost the game, but it was still awesome. And I love that stuff like that can be done at this point in the game. There's so many different cards, so much weirdness you can do with them, that you can challenge yourself to this bizarre stuff.
I like
killing them with a single Raptor.
The order that you deploy the mountains in that scenario is very important.
Yes.
Because you want to do, I guess, mountain first, because it's dependent on the cards in your hand.
Yeah. And then Sea Giant goes last.
Right, yeah. And then every other giant you play after that feeds the Sea Giant.
Yeah. But it was pretty awesome to watch it actually happen, because the guy was so excited. He was like, I can finally do it. And then he was like, maybe I'll win the game now that I did it. And then that didn't happen.
Oh, that is such a sad ending to that story.
But that's the other crazy thing, right? Like, how crazy is it first that you can like make a situation happen where you play 5 8/8s on the same turn, and then how crazy is it that doesn't win you the game? That the other guy can actually then deal with that board.
Well, it's because there's no blocking.
To be so low because of the molten that the other guy just kind of went. I don't even have to deal with the board.
I think the other guy I think the other guy was playing Freeze Mage or something, so he just froze the board for a while and then just bursted him down. But
yeah. Well, jeez. That's awesome. I love that that's a thing.
I'll find that link somewhere. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Do we have a specific League of Explorers deck so far now that it's been out for over a week in its entirety that's been your favorite? For
me, I think it's still Murloc Shaman. I gave it up the further up the ladder I got. But to start,
Did it actually stop working, or did you just?
Yeah, it did. Probably around rank, I want to say 14, 13, somewhere in and around there. I switched to mid-range Pally, and then I pushed up to 7. I'm back down to 8, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, no, it did definitely stop working. I probably could have kept tinkering with it, but I was just like, you know what? I need to get her done. So I'm sorry, Murlocs. You're fun. I love all your gurgles, but I need to move on. But still, it's my favorite deck that's come out of League for sure.
It's a fun deck. Mine's Murloc Paladin because I like Murlocs. I've always wanted to play them, but I hate all Murloc decks. I find them boring and kind of one trick. Although
but these don't
the shaman
seem as like crazy gimmicky though. Like I mean, I know they are a little gimmicky because you've got your big play late in the game, which is gimmicky, but I don't know, it doesn't feel as bad as Murlocs used to.
Well, that's why
you don't feel dirty.
That's why I like Murloc Paladin, because there's only 5 of them. And it's just they're just
It's
your
not
win
even
condition.
Murloc Paladin. It's like anything can happen Paladin, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
To me, you play it like a mid-range Paladin, and you just happen to have a few Murlocs, peppered in there so that you have a ridiculous burst at the end to seal your win.
Mm-hmm.
So, Phil, what about you?
Did we lose Phil?
Oh no,
I think we lost Phil.
rip Phil.
Oh no.
I'll say mine.
Okay.
All right.
Hopefully we get him back. I still really love my Explorers deck. It's my own little creation, so very fond of that. But it's not good. But I actually have a winning record with it. I'm actually above 500 with the deck, so it's not something I'm ever going to use to try to like climb to legend. But anytime I'm just kind of like bored with the decks I'm currently playing, I know I won't lose ranks with it, and I'll have a blast playing it. So that deck is quite fun. Just you don't even need the Golden Monkey Dream, but sometimes you get it and it's awesome. And that's my favorite. But I'd say the best deck that I think is actually happening right now is probably Aggro Shaman, because it's just so freaking good. Like when you queue up and it's Shaman, you're just like, oh man, like I'm gonna be dead by turn 5, and there's nothing I can do about it. And that's exactly what happens every single time. So,
I actually haven't run into Aggro Shaman at all.
You will.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna happen.
So that's what I hear, and I'm just like, I figured that by now, because it's been, top of the meta list for a couple of weeks now, you would think that, I would have hit one, but no, I still haven't, and I'm just like, maybe I just have amazing Hearthstone luck. I'm not running into Aggro Shaman.
Yeah,
I've been using it. I've been using the deck a little bit just because I kind of want to see. I just kind of want to see like what its weaknesses are, right? And the problem I'm having is I can't really find the weekness. Like
the weakness.
I always draw the burst I need because the whole friggin' deck is burst, and it goes over taunts, and like I don't know. It's just it's insane how much, like how fast that deck can do damage. I guess not drawing Doomhammer is the weakness.
It can draw really bad. I mean, if you don't get if you don't get early drops, you still need minions on board in the early game to kind of just set you up to start the pain train. And if that doesn't happen, you don't win. And that's exactly what happened to me game after game after game trying the damn
right.
thing.
I guess
I
just
forgot that you were
mulliganing
playing
is
that,
really
yeah.
important with it, but you mulligan away all burst. Like I think a lot of people probably keep crackles and lightning bolts and stuff. No, you just get rid of those and look for creatures because that's what you want. Start with creatures, end with burn.
Yeah, but you just can't guarantee you'll always draw well. But stats are there. Clearly, it's a very effective deck, and it's working out. So, Phil, you back?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry for stepping away for a second there.
No worries.
Sorry.
So, what's your favorite League of Explorers deck so far?
So I'm not sure if there's a set deck that has come out of this yet, but the one that I've been having the most fun messing around with and seeing other people mess around with is just making priest decks based around Entomb.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
And Entomb is such a huge card. I feel like it is such a powerful card, and it is so huge for priests to just build into priest control decks. It's massive, and I really think. Like I said, from what I've seen, I don't know that people have discovered quite the perfect deck yet, but I think there is going to be a really powerful priest deck that implements Entomb at some point. Like I have a good feeling about that.
I find that to be probably the most frustrating card ever. It's like you're just like, okay.
It's like an even more frustrating mind control.
Yes, because you're just like, all right, here's my big, huge threat. You know, my deck has 2, maybe 3 of them. Boom, what are you going to do? And Priest is just like, that's mine now, thank you. Like, wait, what?
I was talking about it with one friend, and we were talking about, this is with my brother, actually. So mind control, they raised the cost to 10, way back when, because it was too powerful, because you instantly gain control of somebody. This is only... this is 4 less than that, but it has almost the same effect. Like the only difference is that you have to pay the extra mana to actually play that thing again.
You have to play the card, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
so
and you have to draw.
Tyrion costs 14 essentially to do what Mind Control does for 10, right? Because
but it's
you steal it,
huge.
put it in your deck, then you draw it and play it later. So
that removal is so huge. It is so massive, and it's bigger than. It's bigger. Like it. If this were still like if this cost 8 or something, I would still think it's a very good card.
Well, the thing about it over Mind Control is that Mind Control you could only do that turn, right?
Yep.
So in Tomb you could do something else that very turn that you stole the thing. So.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say it feels like they're kind of moving away from card draw in general, but they're giving you more ways to put more cards in your deck, which is basically what Entomb does, right? You spend a card, it's your big removal, but then you then put another card in your deck. Like you then have whatever that big threat is. So you don't necessarily, like, I mean, I'm sure everybody's still running Boom, but, like it gives you an extra chance to draw a Boom, or it gives you a Tyrion as a priest, which is just insane. So
I've seen some really fun Elise decks or Elise mirrors where you entomb the golden monkey right after they play the golden monkey, and then now I have a golden monkey, and then I turn my it's
Nice.
That's insane.
And if you're also playing golden monkey, and then you entomb their golden monkey, now you got 2 golden monkeys, so you got 2 chances.
I will say I haven't.
So Jocelyn was saying, you have more chances to draw those big threats.
I will say that I have yet to run into a successful golden monkey play, either on my end or my opponent's end, and that bumps me out. I'm waiting. I can't wait for it to happen. I'm excited.
It's a hard card to make work because statistically, and we talked about this last time, statistically it's in the 26th or 27th slot of your deck or something like that by the time you actually get the monkey.
Yeah.
But so there's a couple of weird decks that I've seen it work in. So obviously Fatigue, Priest has been a popular version of it, Warrior as well. Decks that were already kind of going for long drawn out Fatigue games. But I saw Zalay play it in Patron. Because you draw so much in Patron. And a lot of times at the end you have these dead cards, right? So you have things like Acolyte that you can't play anymore. And now I'll just turn that into a legendary. And he, so it had this real kind of control-y mid-range game with the patrons and another win condition if you don't get the monkey. But sometimes you just get the monkey because you drew your whole deck and then you win a different way. So it was interesting.
That actually sounds really cool.
Thought of.
Yeah.
I also hadn't realized, it had just never occurred to me until I saw some people doing it, that you could do Bran Bronzebeard and then Elise.
Get
2 maps. Yeah. And that seems like a really clever, to help increase the odds that you're going to draw it at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my deck, the Explorers deck, runs all of the Explorers from the League. So you've got, Sir Finley and Elise, and it's even got, what's his name, Rafam in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But with Bran, you basically just look for one Bran combo to go off, and that's one of the best ones, I think. Just double up on that map. And just because it's so hard to draw the damn map. So shuffle 2 in there, and you're like, twice the chance now.
Yeah, I think it's a fun map, or a fun deck, Dills. I still have not gotten the Starseeker Dream, but one day.
Well, that's
what
we should play today for the 8th Dills of Christmas.
Okay.
We should play some of that, so I can. we can talk about that. Although we do probably have to play the milkshake deck because it is 8 milks shaken. So
milkshake shall be had.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we have something special for everyone today. We have letters to Santa Brode, but before we do that, let's thank our patrons for supporting the show. Thank you guys so much for heading on over to patreon.com/TAC and supporting the Angry Chicken. This week we wanted to thank Eric, Jesse B, Chris, Zach, and Michael O. Thank you guys. We really do appreciate it. Now, it was a light news week, so we got creative. We're doing letters to Santa Brode. Little letters of what we would like to see next year in Hearthstone. And Phil, you're the guest, so you have to go first.
I actually didn't make a letter. And I certainly didn't. I'm looking at your letters here. I certainly didn't make one with nice rhymes.
Wait, you have to rhyme in your letters to Santa Brode? I didn't know
That's
this.
You don't have
that's
to.
what
Oh, okay.
It
these
kind
two
of got
did.
away from me, and now that I'm like looking at it and I'm like on mic and stuff, I'm just like, oh my god, I don't even know if I can read this.
I will
I
say,
cannot wait.
I do have a wish for Santa Brode.
Okay, yeah.
And I will
Sit
say
on
that,
Santa
which
Brode's
is-
lap and tell him what you want for him.
This is all my dreams coming true right now. My wish for 2016 for Hearthstone, the only present that I want is just when the Paladin nerf comes, just let it be gentle. Don't let us still have we have like 4 or 5 viable decks right now. Maybe that's too many. Let us still have a couple.
Yeah.
Feel free
At
to...
least one.
Yeah.
I would put the crosshairs over Secret Paladin, and that's entirely selfish because of all the Paladins. That's probably my least favorite one to play.
I mean, I think that's what they're going for. I think that's what they
Yeah.
will go for. But I just, the concern is always what will get hurt in the splash damage there.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, in the crossfire, you don't want to hurt your Murloc Paladin in the crossfire because that deck's not OP. That deck is like right where it should be. I agree, though.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get Ghost Crawler in here to nerf the Paladin deck, okay?
No.
Please just-
Oh god.
Keep him over on League of Legends, please.
yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. I kind of hope they leave secrets alone because for a really, really long time, nobody played like any secrets in Paladin whatsoever. So I feel like secrets were kind of key to the class. They have so many. I would hate to see them go away entirely. So
But do
I
we
hope
need
they
one
don't
class
that-
totally kill it.
Do we
I
need
don't
one-
I don't envy their job. Like I think they're in a really tough place right now where I can see that Secret Paladin has probably gotten a little bit out of control, and I can see why they might want to nerf it to some degree. But I have to imagine they're trying to figure out like how do we do that, but still make this a deck that's
Yeah.
still viable but not like overpowered.
Just don't think I don't think that they should be doing these kind of broad, gigantic nerfs and stuff like what they did with Warsong. Like, I get why Warsong had to be changed, but it got, what it ended up as is just completely unusable, right? So I think you just make it a 5/5 for 6, and it's fine. Like, I just think the fact
Yeah.
that it's a 6/6 for 6 that also plays 11 mana worth of stuff on that same turn. Like, think about Emperor Thaurissan. That's actually, like, as powerful in some situations, but you pay a penalty in the body. And with Mysterious
I think you're
Challenger, you
probably
pay
right.
no penalty.
I think you're probably right. I think just changing it to a 5/5 might be enough.
Yeah,
We'll see.
no. Yeah,
I
don't
think
kill
you're-
the deck. Just
Yeah. I think originally they thought it would probably be okay because in order to play 2 Mysterious Challengers, you have to put 8 or 10 Paladin Secrets into your deck. And Paladin Secrets on their own aren't really all that powerful. So I think they thought just Paladin Secrets would be enough to keep Mysterious Challenger in check. And then that was just not the case. So
Yeah.
what
might
if it
also-
just gave you like 3 secrets instead of 5? Like pulls a
Somebody brought
max.
that
yeah,
up.
but yeah, I don't know. I like just changing the body. I do think that's a like a common way to look at it is like make it do less secrets.
Mhm.
But then like you basically kill the deck because I'm not going to play the deck unless I can get all these secrets out, and I'm not going to like I don't know. Then you
Yeah,
only
no,
put
I
in
see what you
like,
mean. Yeah.
You only
Somebody
put
else,
in avenge. You only put in get down. Like
Yeah.
Another potential issue or a reason that they might have wanted to make it a 6/6 is you play it, you get the competitive spirit buff, and then it's targetable by big game hunter.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's not. But I don't know how much of a
That doesn't
know.
happen that often, though. Honestly,
No.
Yeah.
like, and more often it still would be because more often what ends up happening to it is it gets avenged, right? So
It always gets hit with
yeah,
avenge.
because the way it works, if you play it by itself, the way it works is they attack you, your 2/1 pops, it avenges the
the-
6/6, and then the 2/1 comes back.
that's the secret invisible text on the Mysterious Challenger is always gets avenge.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think it's like I like that exists, that kind of interaction and what happens and how you deal with it. Like when it first came out, it was so powerful because nobody knew how to deal with it, right? Everyone was like, what do I do now? And they're attacking in the wrong order, and then And now people understand exactly what's going to happen. That you can just kind of go, okay, so I attack here, this happens, this happens. Like, I know what the secrets are. So it's gotten weaker just because people know what it's doing. But I still think, make it a 5/5. You know. That's a gentle nerf, right? Mm-hmm. Gives Phil what he wants.
What do you guys want? I want to know what you want.
Dills. Or no, Jocelyn, you're up first with your first...
Oh, man.
the rhyming.
Okay, here we go, and I'm only doing this once.
Get into character.
Yeah. Dear Santa Brode, your enthusiasm is infectious, your laugh is so jolly, but Hearthstone lacks something, and I think that's a folly. I love all the tack cluckers and want to crown the best of the best. They are smart and they're kind, by the light we've been blessed. My wish is to join them through some kind of mode that would take a group of my choosing, letting one claim the gold. Results with screenshots. I could choose my own rules. Perhaps that is too much power to hold, but maybe, just maybe, we call it tournament mode?
Oh, that was delightfully cheesy.
Slow clap time.
Please.
That was incredible.
Nice. So Jocelyn still holding out hope for tournament mode in 2016.
Yeah, it's going to happen, guys. It's going to happen.
I think it is too, man. I think it is too. 2016 is a long year, man. Like, how could we go through that whole year without getting tournament mode?
It's longer than most.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably. I don't know. I don't know how calendars work.
Well, it's longer than this one at this point, right? So,
yes.
Logic.
It's longer than the remainder of 2015.
Yeah.
Which
there's only 10 days or something.
Which Dills, by the way, if you were in the year of 2015, that would always be a true statement. Mm-hmm. Regardless if it was January 1st or December 31st, it would be a true statement.
I know 2016 is the longest year coming up. That's for sure.
Alrighty, wonderful. I would like to see tournament mode as well.
I don't know if there's anyone who does any kind of tournament organizing who doesn't want to see tournament mode. And that's my big thing, I love doing these Angry Chicken open seasonals, but man, oh man, it would be so much easier if we could just do it in game. If we didn't have to worry about results, if it was just a bracket that the game dealt with, it'd be so much better.
Yeah, imagine the world where you just give people a link to your tournament lobby that's already in the game, and then they go in and sign in, and then if they're there, they get, check in the game, and they're in, and they play the bracket, and nobody has to do anything. Yeah, and all of a sudden at the end, you're like, oh, look who's in the finals. And
you don't even have to add friends. You could just challenge within the bracket.
Like you just say, I'm ready for my next game. And then the game goes, here's your next guy.
I think, unfortunately, to imagine that world, you also have to imagine a world where Hearthstone is not on every device available.
Okay,
I don't
sure.
Just put tournaments on desktop then. It's fine. I don't need them everywhere.
iPads and desktops. I think they could. I think you could have, if they can match make over all the devices, I think they can make tournaments work across. Like maybe the UI would be funky, but
funky UI.
Listen, it can't be that hard to code, you guys. Like,
come
just
on,
do it.
I'll do it. It's fine.
I made a
Just give me access to the code. I'll do it.
Yeah, there you go. Give me back-end access. I'm sure I won't screw anything up.
Phil will be our savior. All right. Well, Jocelyn, I've got a rhyming chaser for you. Here's my letter to Santa Brode, and I've even got some music to set the tone.
Oh, what? You got a music bed?
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Dear Santa Brode, it has been quite a year. There's been tournaments, exploring, and frostbitten cheer. What I'd like for Winter Vale is to ascend Karazhan, join Morose's banquet, and keep partying on.
Oh, yeah.
I want to carry Zan adventure. I want to carry Zan adventure real bad.
Do you think that we're going to get any that are based on dungeons and raids anymore, or do you think that they've just gone off in a totally different direction now?
I think if you can Hearthstoneify them, I think absolutely. And Karazhan's a giant freaking wizard tower, and how can you not find the fun, joy, Hearthstone flavor in that?
They probably are holding off on it just because they're like, guys, we got to get this chess thing right. We can't let Karazhan go without the chessboard.
But I think they'll definitely. I think they've gone down a road now of not just copying the World of Warcraft things, like Garrett said. Hearthstoneify it, create your own version of events that happen there. So, we've descended back into Karazhan, and this is what's going on in there now, and stuff like that.
Like I threw Moros in there as a reference, because why not? I could see the next adventure being Moros's banquet party. Like,
sure, yeah, absolutely. It's just those are such iconic moments in World of Warcraft. I think it would be a shame to just leave them sitting there when it's like, there's all this great content that could be harvested. So.
Yeah, I think with League of Explorers, it shows that they want to do original stuff. But I think also they've talked about, like, I think in interviews I've been told by various Hearthstone developers, like, they recognize they can make content for Hearthstone much faster than the World of Warcraft team can create new content. So, like, at some point, they need to do their own stuff. So I think it's going to be less about just ignoring that stuff and more going back and forth. Maybe balancing some between we're doing a dungeon from World of Warcraft versus we're doing something totally unique.
They
also,
have
Moros's
to make
banquet
content
party,
often, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Can't go 2 years between expansions.
Yeah, Moros's banquet party, I was going to say, sounds like a really great idea for a tavern brawl.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That could be an incredible tavern brawl.
Yes, but we better get it after the Karazhan Adventures so we have the Karazhan game board to play it on.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's not the same if I don't have a bunch of, like, ghosts dressed to the nines walking around some banquet tables.
I agree. Somebody had a great idea on Reddit the other day, or maybe it was just today, I forget, but to do a Reform tavern brawl where you build a deck and then when you go in, you give the deck to your opponent and they give a deck to you. So everyone's playing like terrible decks against each other.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Oh my god.
Which I've actually done against the person where I built his deck and then he built mine and we played against each other.
I was like, this is ringing a bell, yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really fun to do.
You can do it, but it's cumbersome. Now, if it was just built into a tavern brawl, that'd be a very fun week.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Well, Dills, you're last. What would you like Santa Brode to bring you in 2016?
Rhyme. I got no music bed, but here we go. All right. Dear Santa Brode, for Christmas this year, I only want one thing. I've been a good boy. I haven't played any taunt or healed since those are cheating. And I hit all the faces as hard as I could. I even got Golden Hunter. I assume that's what you wanted after GVG. But now I'm confused. You gave us Reno Jackson and a Golden Monkey, and I've lost all my power to Smork. So Santa Brode, all I want for Christmas is my Smork back. And more deck slots in tournament mode, and 100 new cards or so, and Fraggle Stick Car. And tell Santa Woo and Santa Ixar I said hello. Love Dills.
And achievements. Can we add achievements to that list?
Sure. That's the thing. When you just say and, then you can just put in all the stuff you want.
Excellent. All right, so and achievements.
And Fraggle Stick Car. Don't forget that.
Don't forget to say hi to also pink-haired Santa Lindsay.
And Santa Lindsay, yes, exactly. Lyndsiclaus.
Yeah, Lyndsiclaus. There you go. Wonderful.
I think that's totally the name of the episode. Santa Brode and Lyndsiclaus.
I can make that happen. Well, before we move on from our letters to Santa Brode and into crazy game stories, let's thank Squarespace.com for supporting the Angry Chicken, because you can go right now, you can go to Squarespace, you can build an amazing site, and then you can use the code TAC to get 10% off your first order. So we highly recommend you go do that. They are sponsoring this very episode, and as we've mentioned before, if you're listening to this on the podcast, well, it came to you from a Squarespace website. So enjoy that.
That's right. We all are inside Squarespace right now.
We are.
At this very moment.
Does anyone know how to get out?
It's kind of like the Matrix. I think we have to unplug or something. We'll learn Kung Fu first.
You have to find a phone ringing first, otherwise if you just unplug, you just die.
Oh my God! Can you imagine
we are
Matrix these days?
screwed.
There'd be no way out.
I'm in luck. The 7-Eleven down the street actually still has one. We're good. We got this. What was that, Phil?
I saw a payphone the other day, and I was like, "How do I play Hearthstone on this thing?"
Phil says we have to live here now because there's no payphones.
We're a family. Get used to it.
Let's take a crazy game story.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
Hasn't anyone told Jiraxis that it is Christmas and he should calm down and be nice?
Look, you try getting shot in the face with arrows and stuff and see if you don't make a sound like that, you know?
Wonderful. All right, fair enough. I'll probably just die if I get shot in the face with an arrow. I'm not sure I'll make any sounds other than squishy, bone-breaking noises.
I just imagine the recording session when they were doing the Drax's voice and just how much fun it was. Like they're like, just a little longer. No, keep groaning. Like, no, longer than that. No, I'm serious. It needs to be uncomfortably long.
So fun for everybody but the voice actor is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, he had to do it over and over again.
Wonderful. Well, folks, just a reminder, you can send your crazy game stories to tacpodcast@gmail.com. And also next week for our strategy segment, we'll be doing something a little bit different. We're going to try doctoring your decks. So you can email us, same email, tacpodcast@gmail.com, with your League of Explorers decks, and put Deck Doctor in the title so we can easily find them in the inbox. And we're going to probably pick 2 or 3 and give you our opinions on cards to remove and include. So send those on over. Now, this week's crazy game story comes to us from Quiet Song, and actually comes to us from our subreddit at tacpodcast.reddit.com. And Quiet Song writes, for no reason in particular, I threw an Elise Starseeker into my Ramp Druid. I don't really feel like playing any of the more refined Golden Monkey decks out there, but my Druid is a taunty deck that goes into the late game, so why not? A few games in, I realized I was living the dream. Turn 7, I've already gotten the monkey in my hand. I call my 9-year-old, also a Hearthstone player, over before playing the Golden Monkey, since he's never seen it before, and we're like kids on Christmas morning, looking to see what my hand fills up with. A few turns later, everything is great. I've played Aviana, so I'm unloading my hand with great abandon. Nefarian, Mal'Ganis, Ice Howl, Gazrilla, Eadric, and Karen join her on my side of the board. His side of the board is empty. He plays Brawl and Bouncing Blade. Suddenly, all I have is a handful of crazy expensive cards and a 4/2 Bane Bloodhoof against a Dragon Warrior. My son turns to me and asks, Mom, why are you laughing so much? What's so funny about him killing all your stuff? I still don't think he understands how awesome that loss was.
Bouncing Blade for the win.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
I
That's
freaking
pretty
love
cool.
that card.
That's great. Also brings me back to 2 BlizzCons ago where Jocelyn, Katie, and I were standing in the longest merch line ever, listening to the Hearthstone panel as they announced Bouncing Blade, and both of us just going, that is the coolest, worst card ever.
Yeah. I still wanted to make the Bouncing Blade patron thing work out, but it just hasn't. But it's still the
It
most
feels
epic
like it should.
animation. I know, right? Doesn't it just feel like that's supposed to work? And then it like
Yeah.
bounces like into that, and then into something else, and that dies, and then okay.
Yeah.
But
Any
it's-
Bouncing Blade I've ever played has just hit like one thing and died.
Yep. And it's an
I have seen Zalay make a deck worth, but it's a fatigue warrior. It's not. It's literally he just uses it kind of as like a deadly shot, right? Like it'll with one minion on board, it will always kill it. So
Yeah.
I was playing Dragon Priest the other day, and then got into a situation where I only had Ysera on the board, and the opponent warrior Bouncing Bladed, and I was like, really? Who?
Wow.
Why? Why do you have this in your deck? Also, damn it worked.
Yeah.
So there's every now and then weird stuff happens. Let's round the show out with a couple of emails.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello?
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh,
Hello, brother.
You can send your emails to the same place, tacpodcast@gmail.com. First email today comes from Casey, and Casey writes, Hey guys, big fan. I have an idea about why the Joust mechanic failed. I think Blizzard designed the mechanic differently, but could not implement it due to the server and technical limitations. My theory is that originally Joust was going to reveal the most expensive minion in each deck, rewarding the players with slower decks. However, the same server limits currently stopping Reno Jackson from glowing in hand stopped Blizzard from implementing this type of mechanic. However, they had already designed the cards and pushed out the useless mechanic. What do you guys think? I think that is a gross stretch, Casey.
I think it's hard to jump to conclusions about what Blizzard can or can't do without being on the inside. I mean, I also think, like, if in the case that, like, this, let's say they had an idea for a mechanic that they wanted to implement and discovered they couldn't because of server and technical limitations, they would have figured that out well before they announced the expansion, and they probably would have just decided not to do it, like,
Yeah.
rather than...
Yeah.
I will say, and this is something I've never revealed before, exclusive information.
Ooh.
Oh,
Exclusive
Ooh.
chicken. I spoke with some Blizzard Hearthstone people at BlizzCon, and I asked them, obviously League of Explorers was the big deal, but I asked them about Joust in particular, I and Inspire as well. Actually, I was asking about that as well. I asked, are these mechanics that you'll be returning to in future, add-ons or expansions? Will we see more cards that have Joust or Inspire? And they basically, the answer I got was very much like, well, we want to return to any mechanic if we think it's interesting.
Which means Joust is dead.
Which means, it seems like Joust is dead, and Inspire, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
I can see
it's on the bubble.
Yeah,
Inspire gets used in Arena for sure still.
Sure, absolutely.
But Joust is really, really rare to see these
Joust
days.
gets used in Arena on accident because you had no better choice.
Master Jouster is kind of the only card that I still ever see get chosen.
I sometimes see the Paladin Tuskar.
Oh yeah, Tuskar. What is it? Tuskar Jouster, I think.
Jouster, yeah.
Tuskar
Real hard to
Jouster.
remember.
The other day, I selected Gadget Zan Jouster, which is it's a 1/2 or a 2/3.
That doesn't exist.
One.
That's not. I don't think so.
But outside of that, you don't see it much. But like, I got owned by the Kodo thing, the 6 mana Kodo Inspire thing that just keeps dropping 3/5s, so.
Yeah, Inspire definitely still gets some work in. I think the point that they were making to me was more of just like, they were like, hey, if we come up with cool ideas for cards that fit that mechanic, we'll bring the mechanic back. But it was really interesting to also see them acknowledging, like, we're not going to force a mechanic in if we don't think it, if we haven't come up with a reason to bring it back. So if they see Joust as just a loss, which I wouldn't blame them for at this point, it might just be abandoned, and they're not afraid of that, which is kind of,
that's a healthy way to look at it.
that's wise,
really.
I think. Yeah.
Well, why try and make it work? Why
don't force it.
Why force yourself to keep going back to it if it was just ineffective, which I believe Joust was. I think Inspire's fine. I mean, there's not a ton of Inspire cards that get played, but there's enough, and I think it's a controllable enough trigger that it's a perfectly fine keyword to keep bringing back.
Healing
People are
Wave
mentioning
gets
King's
used
Elec.
King's Elec was used a lot for a while, but Healing Wave still gets used in the Malagos Shaman deck that you don't see very often, but I actually have seen a couple times recently. So that one still is there too, but it's rare.
And it's something too where I feel like Joust on paper does sound like a really interesting thing. So I'm not surprised that Blizzard tried it. I don't think they could have foreseen it just not really picking up steam.
You just have to build a whole deck around it, and things like Discover, you don't. You can pepper a couple Discover cards into a deck, and it doesn't mean that you actually have to change how the whole deck is built.
Cheesy Bob says, Discover, though. How good a mechanic is that?
See?
It's a damn good mechanic.
Fan-freaking-tastic. and has really, I feel, really changed the game.
And I would rather them go and make new awesome mechanics like Discover rather than go back and force Joust. Like, just leave it on the floor if it didn't work.
God.
It's fine.
I don't want to live in a world where we get more Joust and Discover didn't happen because they kept going back and like, no, I think we got it this time. Guys. Nah, I'm good. Move on to things like Discover. That's great. Dills, you want to take the next email?
Yeah. We've got ourselves a little song here.
Yeah.
Hello, Tack. This is from Golden Common. I've taken the liberty of updating a holiday classic in the spirit of our favorite children's card game. All right. Am I supposed to sing this?
You're welcome.
Day of Winter Veil, Hearthstone gave to me 12 Warlocks tapping, 11 BM friend requests, 10 Murlocs, 9 friggin' Deathslots, 8 Brode's laughing, 7 40 Dustpack, 6 always hovers, 5 roping warriors, 4 unplayable legendaries, 3 arena losses, 2 disconnects, and a top deck for exact lethal. All right, there we go. I did it.
That was
Well done.
I gotta rush through it, but that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Golden Common. That was great.
And that's what happens when you don't write your letter to Santa Brode in rhyme. You get stuck with the musical email.
I thought it fit the whole 12 bills
12
of
Bills of
Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there's a version just based around that Mitsula wrote, which at some point I'll have to sing on stream, but probably not today.
Awesome.
Well, you're all 12 days out.
It's been really, really fun. I will say, though, it is hard to stream every single day with a theme. It's difficult, man. Plus, we blew our load right away because I put up a donation goal that Santa would come to town which I expected to last like a few days, and we just hit it day one. And Santa had to come to town. And I'm like, now who comes to town? Like,
Well,
Santa's already been here.
I'm so sorry, Dills, that your donation limit hit the goal immediately.
I guess everyone was really excited on the first day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean,
so now every other day, I'm like, well, damn.
If someone told me,
how do you even follow that up?
If someone told me I could pay money for Santa to show up sooner than Christmas, I would pay money.
That's true. I should have thought about that.
I don't know why you're so surprised.
Oh, man.
Jocelyn, final email for today.
Sure. The last one comes just from John Gabriel. Says, "Hey guys, any day a new TAC episode."
You gotta sing it,
out-
Jocelyn. You gotta sing the email.
I already rhymed. Any day a new TAC episode comes out is just like Christmas. Kringle ain't got nothing on ya. My question is this: is there a Criparian for kids? The kid and I are trying to get better at ladder and arena, and watching streamers that explain the plays and misplays seems like the way to go. Crip is especially nice to listen to when he starts his YouTube videos. He's all smiles, he sounds like our friend and gives us great info. He even wishes us well and reassures us he'll be back tomorrow. So smooth, like a non-creepy jazz uncle. But once the game starts, there's a 50% chance that the first word will be F, followed by F that effing card, and F it. I call it the FRNG. Now, I love swearing, and people swearing is great. Pretty sure my mother was swearing when I was being born. Not trying to change anything or anyone. This is not political. I'm just wondering if there's a great explainer like Crip out there that doesn't or rarely swears that you guys know about. Thanks. Happy holidays. I hope you all get a pony.
Oh,
Can
damn, I
anybody
forgot to ask for a pony.
Can anybody get Crip to put like a non-creepy jazz uncle in his Twitter bio? I would really. That's like the best description I've ever heard.
Yeah,
that's
creepy jazz uncle. I don't think those words have ever been spoken before. Actually,
it's pretty fabulous.
I feel like I have a bad ear for swear words because I swear a lot. So I sometimes I'm like, well, this person doesn't swear, right? And then people look at me and they're like, no, they do a lot. But I feel like Trump is pretty.
Yeah, Trump doesn't.
Generally pretty swear free and pretty calm compared to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Even when he gets a little salty, it's usually not with swear words. I feel
that's true.
So Trump might be a good place to look.
Yeah, I don't think his videos are like as energetic as Crip though. Like his YouTube stuff is not. You know, his style is a little more laid back.
Mm-hmm.
I would also recommend like Brian Kibler.
I was going to say Kibler. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't. I love Kibler, but I couldn't remember if he swore or not.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Swears on his stream, but not that much.
I think he might swear from time to time, but he's not. He's definitely not Crip levels of F word.
No.
He's not salty on his stream. He actually talked about this the other day on his stream. He was like, "I've been playing competitive games for 20 years. Like I don't get salty because of one game. Like, you just over time you realize that there's variance, and you're going to lose. You know."
You can't win every single game.
So yeah, Strife Crow, that's a good one. Strife Crow doesn't swear, I don't think ever. Amaz, I don't think usually swears, but he's less of an explaining streamer and more of an entertainment streamer. So yeah, Strife Crow and Kibler, I would say.
By the way, everyone, go check out Trollden's most recent Funny and Lucky Moments for the best Amaz clip I've ever seen.
I haven't seen it yet. I'll have to go check it out.
He has 7 minions on board against the 4/4 ogre that has a 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy, and one of his minions is taunt. And if the ogre hits him, he dies. And he purposely doesn't kill it, even though he could have safely and still won the game. Purposely does not kill it because he's like, well, I've got 7 minions up, one has taunt. What are the chances? And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you should go watch Trollden's Funny and Lucky Moments from this week.
Nice.
So.
Someone mentioned Dog. Dog is really good too, but his chat has kind of a.
I think if you're worried
they
about...
donate and they make gay jokes in their donations, so that might not be the best. But
I was going to say, if chat's your issue, I think you should just close chat because that's going to be an issue anywhere you go.
Yeah, but the problem is the donations come in and they're like text to speech and stuff. It's like a running joke, I think, in his chat. So Life Coach, he might swear sometimes though too, but I don't know.
I think someone I've been watching a little bit more recently who he's pretty chill usually is Jab. I like his stream.
Jab is super chill.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen him swear.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't remember a time when that happened.
The exact opposite of what you should do is let your kid watch my YouTube Hearthstone videos, where we talk about very adult concepts like cuckolding.
Oh, they gotta
and
learn someday. You know.
Yeah.
that's what I'm. Honestly, maybe it's time. You said it's a 9-year-old. Maybe it's time.
Is your child
Have
about
talk.
to
Let
go?
me have the talk with your child.
About to go into high school and read Othello? Then maybe it's a good time to watch Phil Kohler's.
I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to educate the kids.
So when your English teacher comes up and tries to explain the subject of cuckold in reference to the Shakespeare play Othello, your
It's
child can
cuckold,
stand
right?
up
It's a chicken reference.
loud and proud and say, "Listen, Miss Teacher, I've got this. Mr. Kohler taught me all about this."
Someone recommended Hot Form too. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hot Form.
Yeah, so
I don't think he ever swears on the stream.
Yeah, so there's definitely options.
Sure.
There's lots of streaming options out there. I'm not too sure because I'm not a big YouTube person. I don't know who makes kind of like YouTube videos that are kind of educational at the same time as being kid friendly. So
It's tough
but
out there on
streaming-wise-
Twitch, you know? It's
Yeah.
it's not the most kid-friendly place.
I'm also just now coming to the realization that everything I consume for the most part is vulgar as all get out because I'm trying to think. I'm like, well, I watched this. No, wait. No, I watched
Yeah,
that.
no,
No,
can't be
that's
that.
bad. Yeah. Even Day 9. Like, chat room's messing Day 9. Day 9 is one of the most positive human beings on earth that has ever turned on a webcam and made content about video games. But he does cuss like a sailor, so.
It's
hilarious.
legit really difficult for me now that I have a kid, because there are times when I'm like, I will just be playing a game and swearing like crazy, and then realize like, oh, you're just standing there watching me play this, huh? Like, hearing all of that,
Like, oh,
and just
that's how I
absorbing it,
talk, right?
and then taking it to daycare with you to impress the daycare providers.
Spreading it around, yeah. It's gotten easier for me. No kid involved, but just from podcasting and having to talk a lot and try to keep the swears down.
Yeah.
But when I stream, it's like there's no filter.
The second I get
Yeah,
on the stream
no.
or on a show where it is not clean, oh yeah, the F's fly.
Yeah.
They fly
We're all
far.
terrible people. Let's just face it.
Yeah, I think we just should because
Yep.
I am literally the worst on stream. I'm just, especially when I get into some sort of competitive team game like Smite or Heroes. I'm usually okay in Hearthstone, but even then sometimes I get pretty sweary.
I have wished terrible
F
things
this
upon
effing
people.
druid crap.
Yep, that happens a lot.
Yep.
Well, I think I think bearing our vulgar souls is a good place to end the show on the week of Christmas.
Happy Feast of Wintervale.
Exactly. So thanks again to our patrons at patreon.com/TAC. Thanks to those of you who are dropping us reviews in the iTunes store. We really do appreciate it. And this episode, we want to thank Baruchs, who says, this show has absolutely nothing to do with chickens or their anger. Still, I was pleasantly surprised. Also, thank you.
I just love to imagine somebody going like, I need to find a podcast about chickens and anger. Let's see. And then they find our show and they're like, what is this Hearthstone?
Yes, that would be a lovely person to meet.
And then they were like 5 stars.
Also,
Still entertaining.
Also, thank you to Jay as they wrote their name, DZNY Kim, Tim3909, and Punk Rock 4220. Thank you guys for your 5-star reviews. Phil, you're our guest, so I will defer to you. Where can folks find you if they'd like to see what you were doing?
Sure. I'm on Twitter at twitter.com/pkoller. That's PKOLLAR. I write about things at polygon.com. I mostly review video games, but every once in a while I also do, I shouldn't say every once in a while, multiple times per week I'm usually doing news stories, including just interesting Hearthstone stuff, YouTube videos, and cultural Hearthstone stuff that I find. And if you want to watch my Hearthstone videos, that's at youtube.com/polygon. And you look in the playlists, there will be a playlist for Hearthstone videos specifically, because we usually do every week for Tavern Brawl, and then we do bonus ones for expansions and adventures and such. We are the place to go if you want to watch people just having fun with Hearthstone. Like, we're not good at it in any way, like not even remote. Like, we're very bad. I can't stress that enough. We're not good, but we just try and make like the stupidest stuff happen. And we really enjoy that.
I must say, I had a really good time watching your League of Explorers wing runs for those 4 weeks, and that final week with you and Griffin was just hysterical.
Well, thank you. I
thoroughly
appreciate
enjoyed
that.
it.
Yeah, it's fun because most of the Hearthstone streamers try to actually be good, and we're kind of the opposite of that.
Yeah, I don't do that.
You're my kind of person.
It makes me very happy when I stumble across other people who realize that this is a game that at its core is supposed to be silly and fun.
Yeah.
So good on you. Celebrate that. Keep celebrating that aspect of Hearthstone, please. So, anyways, The Angry Chicken, as always, it's on amove.tv. You can find us on youtube.com/amovetv. Thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H, LVE, and Barry Scott L. Our t-shirt is on slashwither.com. Mugs and glasses are bit.ly/amovestore. Follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast. We will be back next Monday at 5 p.m. for our Prime episode. And I believe we're going to do our best. No promises, but we're going to do our best to do a Brawl episode this Thursday on Christmas Eve. However, if family stuff comes up, just be warned. But we're going to try.
It's the holidays.
Try our damnedest to get a Brawl episode out for you all. Anyway, with that in mind, check out alphageekradio.com, briangriffithmusic.com. Thank them for everything they've done for the show. Dills, where can folks find you?
Find me on Twitter. I am at Willie Dills, and check out the stream, twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF. It is the 8th Dills of Christmas. Garrett's going to join me after we go eat food today, so check that out. And then we've got only 4 days after. So I will be streaming on Christmas Day. So forever, whoever is actually wants to hang out with me instead of their families, maybe you hate them. I don't know. Whatever. We won't talk about it. But that will be happening. So join me there for that. And check out the Instance and Stormcast as well.
Nice. I think Katie might show up on your stream too, because she heard she asked, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm just gonna be hanging out with Dills and enjoying some adult beverages." She's
yes,
like,
please.
I want to hang out with.
Yeah. So today, if people want to join us, I'm going to be drinking White Russians because a milky holiday kind of drink. So people want to play along at home. Take White Russian.
Awesome, Jocelyn. How about you? Where can folks find your stuff?
You can follow me on Twitch and Twitter at Joss Plays. Also, I'm right here on AMove TV every Wednesday night for the Gamers In. We're taking a week off this week, but then we're coming back next week and doing our Game of the Year episode. And then the week after that, the first January episode is actually episode 200. So we're looking for submissions. We want to hear what your favorite Gamers In moments are, because holy crap, guys, 200 freaking episodes.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever done anything this consistently.
Damn impressive. Damn impressive.
So
everyone go
it's really
check that
cool.
out.
It's really fun. And we have a fairly small chat room when we record live, so we get a lot of interaction. So yeah, come hang out Wednesday nights.
Awesome.
9 p.m. normally, 9 p.m. for December and 7 p.m. normally on Wednesdays.
Yeah, things are shifting around for the holidays. Well,
Everything's all over the place.
Yeah. Folks, you can find me on Twitter at GarrettArt. In lieu of promoting all the other crap I usually do this week, I really just want everyone to go check out the Star Wars spoiler podcast that is up on amove.tv right now. If you want to find it on iTunes, you can look up Embrace the Spoilers, Star Wars The Force Awakens. It is on iTunes right now. You can grab it. If you never unsubscribed from ye old dead AMove radio feed, I threw it up on there because it's
Yay!
all of the hosts from that show getting back together to talk about Star Wars. So check that out. Thanks again to squarespace.com for sponsoring this episode. Use TAC, get 10% off your first order. We will see you all this Thursday, probably for the Brawl episode. If not, we'll see you next Monday for the next Prime episode of The Angry Chicken.
Probably.
Yeah. Thanks again
We'll just say that every time. Probably.
Thanks again, Phil, for coming by. Everyone, make sure to go check out his work at polygon.com. Job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes!